It is Sunday at about 6:30 p.m. and about 12 hours away from leaving to go to Prague. Stoked. So this is the before. Stay tuned for the after.
It's 5 a.m. It's like 6 a.m. now. At the airport. We have a full day before we're in Czech. Alright, first layover down in Boston, headed to Amsterdam after a 5-hour layover.
This is Joe getting some steps in at the Boston airport.
It's 6:30 a.m. in the Netherlands. We're in Amsterdam right now. Sun's not out. And it's like 11 p.m. back home time. Didn't sleep much on the plane, but had a couple of drinks, had too much food, and ready for the sun to come up, start the new day, get some beer. I'm tired.
We were pretty drained by the final flight, but we made it.
We did it. We're here. Lost my bag though, so they're gonna deliver it to me hopefully, but we're in Prague. Now we gotta go check into our Airbnb and see what that's like. It's the view from the apartment we're staying in. We are in the Czech Republic, specifically we're in Prague, and we are exhausted. We had about 24 hours of non-stop travel, but we also lost like 6 hours from flying over to Europe, so it's been like 30-something-ish hours of time since we left, technically. So we are chilling out for a second, gonna take a shower, and then we're gonna hit the streets and probably go get our first pivo. All right, first stop on the Prague beer tour. This was Fleků. It's right in the heart of downtown, and it is super old and cute, and we really enjoyed it. Stop number 2. I forget the name. And this is the first of many spots where I will show myself drinking a beer and not remember where I'm at. Also disregard the loud truck noises in the background. It's my first Pilsner Urquell in the Czech Republic. Beautiful glass. Alright, we're on a bridge. There's a castle and there's another bridge. There's a jote. And all these row houses. It's beautiful. Prague comes with brewery floor drains installed automatically. One more beer before we headed back to the apartment for what we thought was a nap.
1 week later.
Well, it's about 8:30 in the morning on our first morning in Prague. I'm sitting on the couch drinking some coffee, gearing up for the rest of the day. We came back to the apartment and crashed at like 6 p.m. and slept for 14 hours. It was nuts. Had my bag lost at the airport, got that delivered at midnight, and yeah, so still pretty out of it, but started to wake up. But yeah, super stoked today. We're gonna go down and probably head over to the train station and take a train out of the city and see what we can get into. We're rocking down here to go get some coffee and some breakfast, and it's a big ass train station. Charles Bridge. Charles Bridge. We're chilling. Walking along. It's busy as shit. Got this thing. That's cool. Gotta take pictures. What's up, Bird? Beautiful. After hiking up a bunch of stairs, we stopped at this cute cafe that was blasting some reggae and had a beer. It's the most beautiful beer yet. Even the local soda is delicious. Ooh, back for a break. Gonna go to Unetickey, and I think we're gonna take a train to get there, or maybe an Uber, whichever one's faster. Well, we ended up taking a taxi that was about twice as much as the Uber would have been, but found it. We made it. Unetickey. 12. Can I try your 10?
Yes.
10. I know. Nice. So we got super lucky and ran into the owner, which we met, and allowed us to jump in on a tour that she was giving for a group of international students. They were all kids in high school, and yeah, we just lucked out and got to check out the brewery. This is awesome. Open fermentation. That's the beer. Just badass. Look at how deep this open fermentation is. Versus that 50 hectoliters, so like, I don't know, 20 barrels or something like that, but this is definitely the coolest thing I've seen since I've been in the Czech Republic. Splending. God, that's some B-roll. Look at all these kegs.
So this is actually a keg cleaning and filling line. So you've got two reservoirs on the left there for Costa Consanti. 30 kegs go in upside down, get cleaned, and they get filled on the same line. And here you can see them actually filling bottles. These are plastic PET full 1 liter bottles. They're super cool.
This is a castle. A great view of downtown Prague. Stumbled across a garden and pond after having some schlivo at a random spot that we found walking back to the apartment. And there's albino peacocks and a water fountain. A little garden over there. It's beautiful. It's time. What time? I don't know. I don't know why it's going off. It's like, what, 5:55? Ooh, that's a cool sculpture. There's so much here. This is nice. All these shops, all these restaurants, all these people. What is this?
All right, I know you didn't come here for anything other than Pivo, but this was a rum bar that was right down the street from our Airbnb and was one of my favorite spots that we went to the entire trip. It was the best rum selection I've ever seen, and we both love tiki cocktails, so we had a couple of those a couple nights in a row, and just look at that incredible selection of rum. Yeah, really amazing. Called Rum House.
Hostomické? Is it Hostomické? Hostomické.
There's no cha, so Hostomické.
Hostomické.
That's okay, look.
Get a lesson.
It's Hostomické pivo.
Hostomické pivo.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm here with Evan Ramler. This is dope. In the Czech Republic. Czechia.
Either one, I don't really care.
Yep. That's it.
This wasn't the actual place that they brewed the beer, but this entire space was about 300 square feet, and it was really cool and cozy.
This is it. This is a spot. Super cool. Found the Budvar Boat. I'm gonna go get a quick pour of Budvar. Inside the boat. First Budvar of the trip. Nice. Yeah, this is one of the most beautiful buildings I've seen in Prague so far. Oh. More Wenceslas Square. Beautiful. At dusk.
So this was the first train ride out of the city of Prague. We went to Pilsen. It was about an hour and 30 minutes away. Got us right into the heart of downtown and about a 5-minute walk over to the brewery just in time for our tour.
Made it here to Pilsen. We are walking from the train station right to Pilsen Urquell, which is like 0.2 miles away. Pretty dope. Check out this arch.
Little did I know, this arch was actually the entrance into the city of a brewery that is Pilsner Urquell. That was actually a gift for their 50-year anniversary. Once you get to the gates, you realize how massive of a brewery Pilsner Urquell is. In the waiting area for the tour, you are presented with this glass floor that shows you some old cask barrel filling equipment, as well as some old heat exchanger, pumps, and brew house equipment that's on display. First step in the process you actually get to see on the tour is the bottling and canning area. This was the 1 week out of the year where they were not actually doing any production, but we got to see the equipment. There's a massive glass bottle washer, a bottling line, canning line, all that good stuff. It is humongous. This is the older decommissioned brew house. There's a ton of copper kettles, mash tuns, lauter tons, and some valves over here you can see. Just super cool to see this old facility. And then they show you the new facility. So more tanks, larger volume, and they also have some stainless steel lauter tons. This is us descending into the cellars where they have these barrels on display. Fun fact, they don't actually produce and cellar and lager any beer in this cellar that isn't specifically for serving on this tour. All of their production happens in modern stainless steel cylinder conicals. This is just for show how they used to do it in the olden days. This right here was the best beer that I had the entire trip.
Terrible.
Unfiltered, unpasteurized Pilsner Urquell, and it had no diacetyl, so shocker. This is just a vacant cellar walkway where it leads you to the next room, which is the ice room, where they would drop blocks of ice through the top of the ceiling through that hole and keep the ice blocks here in this room in order to keep the cellars cool during the warmer months.
It should be a brewer.
And this is Jode squeezing through the manway of an old barrel.
Oh, yeah. They love it. Taking the train down to Munich from Pilsen to go to Oktoberfest.
This was a beautiful landscape to ride through. Unfortunately, it was a very long day for us, and this was a 4.5-hour train ride from Pilsen to Munich, and ended up proving to be a long next day.
We just pulled into Munich. That was a long-ass train ride. Pretty tired. It's like 10 o'clock at night now, and yeah. I'm gonna try to check into this Airbnb and maybe go grab a beer at Oktoberfest before they close. Nuts. That's crazy. Just walking into Oktoberfest.
So we got to the festival grounds, and I was shocked by how much of a state fair-like atmosphere it was. There were rides, vendors, all sorts of stuff, and then you got to see the tents. That's the Lowenbrau tent right there. That's their tower, and in the background you'll see the Paulaner tent, and that's where we headed to first.
The tent.
Oktoberfest. It's 10 a.m.
It's 11 a.m. Woo! They're making the beer happen. Goodbye, Paulaner.
If that whole scene was overwhelming, trust me, it was much more overwhelming in person. We headed out of there to the Augustiner house and couldn't get a table this time, so we just stood around and waited for a beer.
Augustina!
After that late night and 2 full liters of beer in the morning, we wanted to head back to Prague before it got too late, but wanted to stop at the Hackershore tent to see what it was like in there, and it was nuts. It's a madhouse of people like the other tents, but they were playing Miley Cyrus, so you won't be able to hear me say Hackershore.
Trying to get out of here. Whew. They've been Oktoberfest. That was a lot. Crazy, but gotta walk into the train beer. Head back to Prague. Yeah.
So after all that travel, I was feeling pretty run down and kind of sick, so we ended up heading back to Prague. It was a 5.5-hour train ride, and took the next day off to try to recuperate and salvage the rest of the trip. This is just another view from the other side of the river in Prague. It's a higher elevation, so you get a really great view of downtown and the surrounding areas. And this was the old Prague Castle. Super beautiful building.
Prague Castle is one of the coolest buildings I've seen. Medviku. I like that. A fresh hop lager. All right, this is a farewell to Prague. We are leaving. We're headed to the airport after 7 days, 7 long days, and 2 of those days being sick, unfortunately. But yeah,
Bye-bye.
amazing trip, great time. Joe's happy, but time to get back home. All right, this is the aftermath. We're sitting here, both still pretty exhausted and running on fumes and partially sick. But we're home, and that's it. That's the whole trip. Hope you enjoyed it. Now Zdraví, drink lager. Peace.
I think to myself,